intense sensory needs, food avoidance, and you're not gut for it, what do? Yes, we are talking profound autism and polar vortex. Two terms that should never be put together. But if you live in the South, if you have a home that has a heat pump and well water and those types of rural southern typical settings, this may present some additional challenges for you. What if your electricity goes out? What if you have no heat? What if you have no water? What do? Let's talk about it. Communication challenges as well as very low cognitive abilities may make it very difficult for your child to understand even the very concept of electricity. When my power went out for an extended period because we are very rural, it was out for quite a while. My daughter was very upset with me because the lights aren't coming on. And if the lights don't come on, she thinks that that's something I can control. How was I going to explain to her that electrical line workers were working as hard and as fast as they could to get the electricity back on when she doesn't even understand the concept of electricity? Start thinking now of terms that your child does know and how you can explain this in a way that is going to make sense to them. My daughter loves the doctor. We just said that the lights were sick and that the doctor was fixing them. And that helped ease her anxiety about the lights not being on and also help ease her agitation with me that I somehow was going to be able to fix it. It switched it over to somebody other than me, like a doctor, might need to fix the lights. In the event that the power goes out, how are you going to explain that to your child to help ease their anxiety? You're going to need to have terms ready and prepared that are relative to terms they already understand. They likely don't need to tell anybody who is watching this video right now the importance of having power banks, having them fully charged. Preferably have them to be solar power banks so that you can recharge them if you use them. Things like our children's AAC devices and iPads are that form of communication, and so they may be tech dependent. Get water in various forms as much as you can store. Water is heavy, it is bulky, it is hard to store a lot of water. If you're going to need it from flushing your toilets to cooking to sponge bathing in the South, especially if you have a well, it may not be set up for these kinds of temperatures. This is not our normal weather. Your well pump busts or your well freezes over, you're going to want to have some alternative water to start stocking up because chances are your grocery store is not going to have any type of water available whatsoever inside of the grocery store. If you live in an area in the South that does not typically experience these kinds of weather low temps. Heat, if you have a heat pump, which many of us do in the South, they do not work in these weather low temps. So you're going to need an alternative source of heat. If you do not have an alternative source of heat, like a wood burning stove, fireplace, make sure you at least buy a portable tent that you can put in your living room and pop up really easily, because in the event that you do lose power and heat, then at least being inside that tent can help hold some of the heat in until the power can get restored. Many people go without power or the stove working or the oven working all across America, and the deal is very different if you have somebody with profound autism who has very limited foods that they even will eat, or they have avoidant food restrictions. Do your very best right now to have non-perishable substitutes for those must-have food and drink items for your child. Have a propane camping stove. Get the little propane canisters that come with those and get extras of those. Have a camping kettle so that you can boil water. Make sure that you have sources of ambient light, whether it's flashlights, out of little lanterns. They aren't very expensive at all. They're battery operated, and that allows for my daughter to be able to have ambient light, control it, to take it around so that it helps reduce her anxiety and she's not in that kind of darkness. Here's one that I learned the hard way. When last year's once-in-a-century freeze happened, our well pump busted, which meant that I was out of water for a week and a half. Homeowners insurance put us up in a hotel. At first, I didn't think that there would be any problem because it wasn't the first time my daughter had ever been to a hotel. However, it also isn't something we do regularly, and I wasn't anticipating how difficult that would be for her to understand that. Prepare now with social stories for things like going to a hotel or any other kind of scenario you think might happen. Anything you can to help prepare your child for those steps and what to expect in these very new type of situations that might also face their anxiety. Individuals with profound autism are more likely to be medically complex, so many of these supplies you already have in your house. Make sure you don't run out of medications during this time. Make sure that your first aid kit is completely stocked. That you check the batteries of things like your pulse ox, your thermometer, blood pressure cuff. That you have extra batteries for all of your medical devices, for the toys, for your child's tech devices, anything that uses batteries. Make sure that you have extras. These are just some of the ways to prepare if you are temporarily off-grid, no electricity, no heat source, and no water, to try to ease the experience for your child with profound autism. Go to the September 26th project and get the natural disaster checklist. You will find a lot more tips to consider to prepare for things like this.